throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting a fool, this embarrassing is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us, and y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Try to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defiant, cannot describe it. Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. At every bar, even though my bar has been the hardest. The scars on my face, and I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve, even if the beat stops my soul.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is another wonderful Tuesday evening with the fellas. Little sports nonsense and whiskey. Pinky, Robert. Cheers, good sirs.
Cheers, buddy.
Gentlemen. Ooh, Guinness.
Ooh, Guinness.
It's actually Coke Zero and Jameson, but
that's really disappointing.
Same region. Sticks in the family.
Yeah. And
I guess.
My wife bought me a whole Coke Zero, then I feel bad if I let it go to waste. So
Sure.
Fair.
Naturally.
Fair.
Yeah.
I drank some and then poured some whiskey, and I feel like it's still good. Still good. Might have to get more whiskey. We'll see.
See no wrongs.
How's it going, fellas?
See you're rocking a jersey there, good sir, of a team that needs to break a curse, it looks like.
Let's say it right. I am wearing a hockey sweater.
You are. That's true. Good point.
Hockey sweater. The real ones call it a sweater, not a jersey. So.
He is correct. Pinky's wearing a sweater, no doubt about it.
And there's not much, like it's 80 degrees in Colorado lately.
If you're going to say that, though, are you willing to finally give in to what a soccer jersey uniform would be called? Or are you still going to call that BS?
What's it called?
Robert, we're on the same page here, right? This was an issue at one point, was it not?
It's called a kit in a shirt.
A what?
A kit?
It's a kit. It's a kit.
Like whole kit and caboodle? You got your kit?
You got your kit. And cleats are boots. Cleats are boots.
Nope.
I knew he wasn't.
They're boots.
Willing to get all the way on board, but hey.
And you wear a kit. You wear a kit.
Yeah. That is not kit or anything. That's a jersey. Sorry.
Are we okay with liveries now, or is that still
an
issue as well?
That's still dumb as shit too.
The Godzilla one was great.
Oh goodness.
Hannah, hi. Hannah, or I don't know.
Basically, at this point, what I'm sensing is anything that comes from the other side of the pond in the northern region of Europe might not be kosher with your vernacular.
I mean, I like some of their phrases and words and their curse words and stuff like that. It's fine, but liveries that's dumb. There's more like if they call them skins or wraps or like that's what they are. Like they're not liveries.
Yeah, I think those are all new terms though for what it actually is. And what it uses predates any of those things, I do believe.
He's got a point. He's got you there.
Yeah, well, it's still
but hey, you're good. I was just checking in on a couple things. That's all. Just checking in.
Well, I appreciate that, buddy. Ooh, how we feeling, boys? We got a full show, I think. So probably get started.
Where are we starting? Are we starting with the hockey since that's what you brought up first?
No, we got that. I've got hockey on the we got hockey coming up, but this is the big news of the week. It is Final Four week, and we had Cheese Dude. What's up, Cheese Dude? That's a good name. I like that name.
Cheese Dude, son.
Like, who doesn't like cheese, man? Every fat guy likes cheese. I like cheese.
Solid.
So,
Solid.
cheers. Final four, man. You picked most of the winners, Caleb. UConn,
I did okay.
Arizona, Michigan. That's good, man. 3 out of 4. That's good.
I even picked UConn, even though my brackets did not say that was who I was originally thinking would win.
They had to pray to
Boy,
God.
did they give me some lucky there, huh?
That was a shot. That was a shot.
Whoa,
that's a prayer.
That game will go down all time. That's one of the all times. It's an instant classic. The fact that what was UConn up 19 at one point?
Yep,
I believe
19. 19. Yep. It was one of the biggest comebacks.
Duke was up 19 at one point in the first half. UConn just kept fighting back in the second half.
It was tied for the 6th biggest comeback in the tournament history. It was 19 points.
It was. I remember like halfway through the second half. I remember thinking to myself, that lead disappeared, and it was still like 10 or 12 points, but I felt like it wasn't there anymore. Duke just had this. Almost like they hit pause and we're just going through the motions or something. It was a really odd situation. And it's not like, I don't even want to say Duke necessarily gave away the game. UConn just continued to put so much pressure on them that I think that young Duke team and lack of experience just kind of caught up to them eventually is what it felt like.
Dude, nobody hate watches Duke more than me. I was loving it. I mean, you were there last year, right? We were at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a table of Duke fans next to us, and I was being a little obnoxious. I was clapping really hard.
Pinky, there is no a little obnoxious when it comes to you, my good sir. I love you, but there's no little. You get up there. When you want people to know something, you let them know.
It's also funny because he's not like a fan of any Duke rival. Like there is no
he just hates Duke.
Yeah. There's no fandom that causes him to like force that feeling upon him out of loyalty to someone else. It is just straight dislike.
Just straight hate.
Let the hate flow through
Duke,
you.
Man, did they blow an opportunity? I will say this. And this will be the narrative. You know how it goes, guys. If you've shown a pattern, it's going to be the narrative until you change it somehow. And right now, Shire is known as a coach who blows it in big moments. It's like 3 years in a row now where he's got issues with leads and losing them. I went into the tournament telling you that Duke and Shire have the potential to become the program in college basketball because of what he's been able to do with win-losses since Krzyzewski left and he took over. And I said he needed to win the tournament, though, to do so. And they fell short. And now there's this narrative that he can't win the big games, blows leads at the most unopportune times. The Duke freshman situation, who they have incoming, even dating back to Krzyzewski and the talent they've had there and not winning a national title for as long as they have, starting to look like an issue. So they've got to change that narrative going forward, and how they fix that is up to them. I will say two things. I don't think Shire not calling a timeout and telling his guys to push the ball up the court was the wrong decision. This goes back to like Sean Payton and going forward on fourth down and everybody being like, he blew the game. That was the wrong call. No, it wasn't the wrong call. It was the right decision. It was poorly executed or the wrong play call. What Boozer Jr. did, little twin, he made a poor basketball decision. He had two guys open with nobody around them on the other side of the court that he was trying to get the ball to. He threw the ball away. He was weak with the ball. He even said so himself after the game. Shire could have called a timeout, set a play, allowed the defense to get set, run something, and the same situation still could have happened. Boozer still could have been weak with the ball and that pass to get out of trouble, and you still have the same situation and scenario where they turn it over. That the lack of a timeout or what you believe to be the incorrect call of pushing the ball up the court. Could a Boozer just held it and the game would have been over? Yes. Because of the time on the clock. So in that situation, pushing it up the court, you can say was the wrong decision. Maybe you could have talked about that. But I don't fault the situation. It was poor execution.
And it still took a miracle shot to win.
I mean,
that was a long shot.
That thing is a prayer.
That was a shot.
He threw that thing up, and you have no idea. And it was like, wait. Oh, shit. Like, that was a prayer, and they got answered. Good for UConn. But I loved it, obviously. Because anytime you can shit on Duke, I'm all about it. I'm a Kansas guy. I feel like if you are a Kansas fan or a North Carolina fan or a Duke fan, you hate the other two schools.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for sure.
I
will always root against North Carolina.
I can see Kansas fans disliking North Carolina because of the whole Roy Williams thing.
No, man, I don't even care about that. It's literally just because, for the most part, Duke, North Carolina, and Kansas have been the top three programs, and I think you could make an argument UConn's in there too, right? At least over the last decade, right?
Sure.
But
I'd
for
say
the longest,
since 99 or 2000, whenever Calhoun won his first one, since that moment, they have been one of the top programs.
So if you're one of those top four programs, I feel like because the other programs are good, you hate them. Like, that's why.
Yeah, I feel like I missed that message.
Yeah. That's how
I didn't
it
get
is,
that
bro.
memo.
Because the Big 12, like, who cares? Who cares? Like, most of the other, like, for me anyways, there's not other teams. Like, occasionally there's a team in the Big 12 that's like a rival to Kansas for a little bit, and then they're gone. So the true rivals are Duke and North Carolina, and you can make the case UConn now. The blue blood programs that are usually always pretty good, and somebody you're going to have to go through to win a championship.
Now, look, before I say what I'm about to say, I will caveat it with this. I've kind of always felt like a fake North Carolina fan. Like, I've always kind of been a bandwagon fan, and I've talked about that a lot in the past. If you want to know the story, reach out to us and I'll explain it to you. But with that being said, I feel like this is a conversation you as a Kansas fan are entering yourself into a conversation because you want to be a part of it, but you're the only one that thinks you're a part of the conversation. Like, I feel like you're trying to put Kansas in a rivalry with North Carolina and Duke, and that just simply doesn't exist. Like, that's not existent. Duke and North Carolina is one of the greatest rivalries in all of sports, and I don't think either of them look at Kansas as like a rival.
I don't give a shit what anybody else says. That's how I feel. What are we talking about here? We're talking about Pinky's feelings.
That's fine. That's fine. I think part of this, though, could also be like you said, though. Does Kansas really have a true rival in the Big 8, the Big 12, and whatever other iterations it's been? I don't know that they have. Texas, maybe.
The last couple years, it's been Iowa State. Because Iowa State and Kansas have been going back and forth, where throughout the season both teams will win big, and it's kind of a back and forth.
I mean, Kansas State is kind of always the rival for Kansas, right? But like,
some years they're good, some years they're just dog shit, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I feel, regardless of what the rest of the country thinks.
Fair. Duke lost in an epic fashion. UConn moves on. Illinois and Houston. Look, I picked Houston in that game. I said Illinois can be dangerous, but I thought Houston would find a way with their experience and just that drive to finally finish the story would carry them. Oh, boy, was I wrong on that game. Illinois came out and showed you exactly how talented they are. And they are every bit as dangerous as any other team in the tournament Final Four remaining, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there talking about how the Arizona-Michigan game is really the championship, and UConn and Illinois are a step below that. I don't see it that way. at all. I think all 4 of these teams could easily go out there and win it. I think if you want to say Arizona or Michigan are the current favorites, I wouldn't hate that. I think Arizona wins it all. I had in one bracket I had Duke, another bracket I had Arizona. And the reason I had 2 brackets is because Pinky wants to try to win some money every year, and he lets me pick a bracket for him that he pays for because he trusts me more than him, although that may not happen going forward because his brackets are looking just as good. And then we have the podcast bracket, and I'm not sure how I ended up Duke one and Arizona the other, but after I realized I set them, that's how it ended up, and then I left it that way. So, and I picked UConn live on this stream last week to beat Duke. So I don't even feel very good about my own brackets, but I think any of these 4 teams can. And Illinois showed that last week in a major blowout against Houston. Arizona, Purdue looked like maybe it was going to be a game in the first half. And then Arizona came out and was like, all right, we're ready to play now. Let's go ahead and end this, and just walked away with it in the second half. That was kind of expected. Maybe not in the fashion in which the game went, but the end result I felt kind of was going to end up being that situation. And then you had Michigan and Tennessee, and Michigan does what Michigan does in a lot of situations, and they kind of walked away with that. They did walk away with that very quickly and never looked back. So you've got a situation here where you've got 3 teams that kind of blew out their opponent to get into the Final Four. And UConn that made a miracle shot to get in and made a comeback of the ages. I don't think any of that matters, though, in this Final Four matchup. I think Illinois is a lot more dangerous than people are maybe discussing. And I really kind of lean towards them in this game for a lot of reasons. They got the star freshman. They've got the, as Coach Greenberg put it on the, I think it was the Dan Patrick show. They've got the Vitches, the Vucevic's, the Jojkovic's, the Stojkovic's. They've got the Vitches. That your Eastern European flair is coming out in Illinois. And they play as a unit with a lot of team chemistry right now. So they're just as dangerous as anybody. And I really want to pick them. I do. I really do. The way UConn came back from Duke and never panicked, and the fact that they do have some horses with experience, I just kind of feel like they're going to end up finding a way to get to the finals.
Dan Hurley's a damn good coach.
Dude, got to get his emotions under check. He's got to find a way to, and I know that's part of what makes him him, but I think you can take some of that edge off in certain situations a little bit and give your team better advantages. But I love him. I really do. I love him as a coach, and I think they find a way to get that game. As much as I want to pick Illinois, I just have this feeling that UConn finds a way to make it to the finals. And then on the other side of the bracket, I'm going to stick with Arizona. And Pinky, you'll find this rather amusing, but growing up, never really having a basketball team because didn't think Nebraska had one. Went with my buddies in Carolina and bandwagon that, and I've always been a fan there. But I had family down in Tempe, so always kind of watched Arizona. And I personally was a Michigan fan for a very short 2 to 3 years because of the Fab Five.
Everybody loved the Fab Five.
Loved the Fab Five. Those were my guys. Loved everything about them. And so I find myself emotionally tied to both teams with no true way of deciding a winner. Because normally I could go, all right, here's what I see on the court. And then if I tie break it, I can go emotion kind of if I want to. Well, the emotion tiebreaker doesn't work in this one. So I have to go based on what I see on the court. And I'm going to draw a blank, and I'm not even going to look it up. So I apologize ahead of time. But Arizona's freshman point guard, sir, I don't know how I was not more familiar with your game. I apologize. You are a stud. And how you're not getting more recognition, I do not understand. There's a couple guys on Arizona you could say that about. I like the fact that Arizona has kind of done it almost somehow under the radar, i.e. they don't have like one name that's in the national spotlight like all these other teams do. But they kind of are the, I think, best balance of all things that you would want in like star freshmen, veteran leadership, experience, all these things. I think Michigan is identical in that sense, but I think Michigan is slightly more inconsistent. And when I say slightly, I'm talking like I'm nitpicking here, okay? But I think that's what I kind of lean back on. And because of that, I am going to give the edge to Arizona in this matchup. And I think we see an Arizona-UConn final. And I think UConn finds a way to then get it done in the end, Pinky.
Oh,
I am having a very hard time now picking against UConn. And that just they don't seem to ever panic right now, and like they just know what's going to happen when the game's over. And it's such a weird thing to watch that they may not be the most talented team, but I think they do have the pieces that just find a way to make the plays needed one more than the next, and that gets them a W in the end.
I don't hate that at all. I mean, Dan Hurley's a really good coach, man. He really is. Arizona,
3
Michigan
championships in 4 years would be crazy.
Yeah, Arizona and Michigan, like I don't know. They're both good squads. Like, who knows? Like, I don't know. I'm excited. I think I probably spend more time watching the Final Four in the championship game than the rest of the tournament. Like, there's just too much going on for me.
Sure.
That I don't get to watch all the different games. Kansas got knocked out early, so at that point I was like, I don't care. But I am excited to watch these games this weekend. Saturday, I believe, right? Saturday and then championship game Monday.
Yep.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, in my bracket to win money, I am second, and the guy above me has me by 1 point, and we both have Michigan winning it. So, like, I can't win, which is really disheartening. When you can't make up any ground, that's pretty disheartening. So,
that's a bummer.
It is what it is, and we'll try again next year. But I was this close. And I just picked chalk. I literally just went through the whole bracket and picked chalk, and it got me second. So
solid.
I think I just needed Duke to win. That's what I needed. Duke winning would have helped me.
Good tournament up to now. Great tournament.
It really I don't even mind losing because Duke lost. I don't even mind. That's how much of a hater I am,
there you
Caleb.
Go.
That's how much of a hater I am. All right, so we will have.
Hey, you own it, my guy.
We will talk about the Final Four, how it goes down, and the championship game next Tuesday. It is on. All right. Let's see. We're doing good. We're doing good on time. All right, guys, prepare yourselves.
There's some crap calls.
The NFL is preparing for replacement referees.
That's gross.
For the 2026 season. There is the collective bargaining agreement with the Referees Association has been stalled. It expires May 31st. What are your thoughts about that, Robert?
I mean, I really don't have a whole lot to go off on this just because I'm coming into this again off just a few years, so I don't really know what all is to happen, except it sounds like we're going to have some pretty crappy calls and some very interesting games.
So if I'm remembering 2012, which was an interesting year because if I remember, that was the season after the lockout. I think it was 2 weeks. We had replacement refs for 2 weeks. And there wasn't anything overly like completely awful lots of inconsistency, which I think we get anyways right now.
Absolutely.
But the Fail Mary play was like the icing on the cake of like, wait, did you guys not? Can you not see the play? Like, what's going on, guys? But I kind of feel like the Fail Mary play is almost like the Broncos Bills play from this playoff series of like, there's people on both sides of the fence, and you really can't convince them either way.
Sure.
And unfortunately, the refs had the job if they had to call something.
Yeah.
So, I think one of the things that's holding up this deal is the NFL actually wants to make them full-time employees. And a lot of the refs are not full-time employees right now because they have a full-time job outside of their work, and they don't want to give that up. Because I think, I think at that point you have to pay me more because a lot of these guys are lawyers and not attorneys and lawyers, same thing. A lot of these refs are well-paid individuals in their normal job. So you have to make it worth their while to quit that job and just be a referee full-time.
It's wild that the NFL hasn't done this already.
Right.
And it's definitely not for lack of funding. Now, whether the NFL has offered a deal worth, making it worthwhile to the officials is another story. I don't know that. But the NFL should never say it has anything to do with anything other than the refs themselves not wanting it to happen. But if I'm being honest, if that's the case, wouldn't you do something along the lines of hiring officials in the background and training them from scratch? Like going and getting a bunch of former athletes, like start your own academy in the background and be ready for the situation of, all right, well, you guys don't want to be full-time officials? Cool. Well, that's what we're going to use now. And we already have a farm system we can pull from. So we don't need you anymore. We're going to move forward. Seems like there's a lot of ways around this if they really wanted to. And the NFL just never has really wanted to. So there's always an excuse somewhere for why it's not happening. I would be hard-pressed to think if it was a truly legitimate offer from the NFL that the officials would turn it down. But, then again, what is the offer if that's the case? So it would be nice. I think it's much to do about nothing, kind of like what you said, Pinky. There's, based on the way the fandom and everyone talks about the officiating now, it can't be any worse with replacement refs, can it? So, and when it did happen before, like you said, I don't remember it being such an issue that it went down in history as, God, we can never let that happen again.
So it was only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
you would think still enough games to 2 weeks worth of games should give you an idea if it was just awful.
So one of the things that they've done is they are preparing to train a lot of college referees to, be the replacement refs. And they are going to allow the officiating department in New York to correct clear and obvious mistakes. Is their 1-year rule that if we have replacement refs, basically the eye in the sky can overrule them.
Conspiracy theory.
Exactly. I was just thinking that, Caleb.
Having this issue with the officials simply for you to have a legitimate reason to finally use that technology.
But the biggest thing I have with that, the biggest thing I have about with some of this is like, there's this last season, they started doing that like replay assist for quick things. Like, oh, I don't need the coach to challenge. We can see it was incomplete. It's incomplete, right? Like the booth could call down and help make a call pretty quickly to overturn something that was, not called correctly. without a coach having to waste a challenge. That's kind of what this feels like. Of like they could get in and do that, and at the end of the day, like I think that's almost better than having a referee go over to a little board, stick his head in, watch the play from multiple angles. Like, if New York already has all the angles, why we don't have people there we can trust to make a call?
The fact that it takes as long as it does, basketball is just as bad, if not worse. So, like, it should never take as long as it does for these replays to happen. And what's sad is, I would say, is it UFL? I believe has like Blandino, I think it is, like in a booth making calls as the game's going on. Like, nope, we're going with this. We've already looked at the replays. Like, they've already shown you can do it like this. It doesn't need to be this drawn out 5-10 minute process. You can do this in 30 seconds or less in between the offense making plays. Like, that's how they're doing it. So I think that's the bigger issue, I think, is just the length of time. The fact that it continues to make me say things like the NFL doesn't know how to interpret their own rules or enforce their own rules or understand what they even wrote in their own rule book. That's not a good thing.
Now let's see. There was a couple rule changes. That the penalty correction, if there's a lockout, is one of them. The kickoff out of bounds penalties will be modified to eliminate the incentive for the kicking team to intentionally kick the ball out of bounds when kicking from the 50-yard line. So, like, when there's like that personal foul on a PAT or 2-point play and they like mark it to the 50 and teams would just kick it out of bounds. Now they're going to fix that, which I don't mind that. They are allowing onside kicks anytime again. The problem I have with it is that you still have to announce it.
So dumb.
What's
the point?
I don't think you should have to announce an onside kick.
You absolutely should not have. That's like, and this is what's so stupid about it. It is still a play that has, it's not just like, hey, you have to do this. That is your only option. So if you're going to give a team options, just like every other play that a team does on every other down, there are options of what you can do. How come we're not making the offense tell the defense what play they're running next? Why is that not a thing?
Right.
Hey, we're running a
shotgun
dive. That's how we're going to block it. We're not going to call an audible. That's what we're running. Now you try to stop it. Let's see what happens. Like, come on. That's how stupid this is. Plus, it takes away the ability to ever have a moment again, like Super Bowl, whatever it was, with Sean Payton coming out of halftime and kicking an onside kick and getting the ball and completely changing the tide of that game. Like, you don't get that anymore. So it's cool they corrected their mistake a little bit, but let's go all the way back.
The other one that at least I think mentioned is good is now if you are put on the PUP list before the season, it's automatically 6 weeks. Now they're reducing it to after the second game of the season, you can open up a 21-day practice window and then pull them back. So basically after 2 games, you could technically pull someone off the PUP list versus having to wait 6 full games. So I like that.
That's one of those things I just there's a couple things that the NFL has that I just don't understand and why. Like, to me, if you put somebody on the PUP list before the season starts, you should be able to pull them off at any time.
Right. For sure.
Now, if you put them on during the season, I can understand having limitations because of the implications of what putting somebody in that spot means and being able to open up a roster and
you can't put them on PUP
implications and all that, right?
During the season, you have to put them on IR.
Well, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I can understand those situations, but like if you do it before the season,
to me, I don't think there should be any ramifications.
Yeah, I just don't.
You know, if they're, but I know they're trying to keep it fair. All right,
that's like salaries. Like the fact that if you trade a guy that still counts against your salary cap. Like nobody's ever going to explain that to me in a way where I'm like, yeah, finally, that makes sense, and you should keep doing it. Like, no. I traded that person away from my team, which means everything that's part of them goes with it. So if I want to trade away the salary, I can trade away. Why is the salary still affecting me? Like, that's something that there are some things, and I get why it's done. I just think there's other ways to get the same outcome within the cap structure and stuff to then not penalize a team still if they've traded away a person. If you just cut somebody, I could understand why that would still be an issue salary cap wise. But if I trade you, like somebody was willing to take you on, you get the money.
Like
Now,
the
teams wanna
loan,
work out
it's
the
like the
deal and I'm
loans
still
in
paying something
in soccer, Caleb.
Yeah, dude. Exactly. That's like just the fact that somebody was able to finagle that deal originally and make that the standard. More props to that businessman's IQ.
Right, like
because
this is what you originally agreed to. You're gonna pay it.
yeah. Oh, by the way, I know I'm gonna pay his salary now, but I don't want you to gain an advantage from this, so you still have to count it on your books, even though you're not paying him anymore. I'm gonna need you to still take that negative. Like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. So, sorry. Slight
Slight detour.
divergence
All right.
from the path there. Apologies.
I had one other NFL topic that I wanted to ask you guys. And I'm getting the idea from watching the Rich Eisen show and another show that I watch. But I wanted to ask you guys' opinions on two of the most overhyped teams every year. And what your thoughts are going into 2026. Obviously, start with the Cowboys. Cowboys have continually been an overhyped team as long as I can remember. And all they do is give their fan base hope,
disappointment,
and then crush their dreams. What are your thoughts, Caleb, on the Cowboys?
So, I think it's both fair and unfair to call them overhyped. And hear me out a little bit here. I think it's fair because they haven't won anything. So, regardless of how many wins you have in the regular season, if that doesn't translate to postseason success, there's a problem. So, overhyped is legitimate there. But in a sense, I don't think it's fair because they have had legitimately talented teams to start seasons to have them in the conversation for contender. So in that sense, I wouldn't necessarily say they're overhyped, but in the sense that they continuously come up short with achieving what is the goal every season and doing so epically, failing in a lot of scenarios, that definitely warrants the title. So I am a little torn. I'm not your Dallas hater.
So what is your outlook for 2026 for the Cowboys?
I think they're going to be a talented team with a lot of potential. That offense should be dangerous. It should be one of the best offenses in the league. Can the defense regress to the mean a little bit rather than being an outlier of how bad they were at times? I don't know. Maybe. You would hope so if you're a Dallas fan. And if that is the case, you're right back in the playoff hunt and potential Super Bowl.
I don't know if they can play much worse.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. So it's not like they've had a lack of talent. It's not like they haven't had wins. It's not like they haven't had some good seeds and made the playoffs. They just don't finish when they need to. And that's been their biggest problem. So, yes, overhyped, but also I think that's slightly unfair just because they have been good teams. They have been talented. They just fall on their face. So, I don't know, a little torn with that, I guess.
Robert, what are your thoughts on the Cowboys for 2026?
I just don't want to hear about them because they suck. Like, I am such a Dallas Cowboys hater, man. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about, oh, it's their year, they're gonna do it. They've got so many great key players, and they're gonna do this and that, and then we waste all these primetime slots on a team that just freaking sucks. It's time to move on.
I mean,
it's not the 1990s anymore, folks. Let's move on.
I'm not overly a Cowboys hater, but I do like it when they crash and burn. And that's just the hater. I guess that is the hater in me, but I love that Jerry Jones. I mean, Jerry Jones is a great businessman, and he makes them relevant. He makes them a talking point. Like, I was talking to you guys the other day, like, didn't Jerry Jones just screw up by not paying George Pickens immediately and waiting? Jackson Smith and Jigba's deal got done. He probably going to wait till Puka Nakua's deal gets done. And the next thing you know, he's got to pay Pickens, close to $40 million a year.
At this point, though, wouldn't you say that is their business model?
Absolutely.
Based on the track history?
It's been their business model of waiting too long to sign the guys they know. Like, you could argue.
No,
Pickens...
I'm not even saying waiting too long anymore. I'm saying the business model for them is if they think their guy is one of the best in the league or the best in the league, instead of paying him to set the market, their business model is legitimately let the market get set and then we'll make him the highest paid. Like, that honestly seems to be their business model at this point. Like, it is done on purpose. It's not by accident. It's not a lack of negotiation or talks. That's their strategy. That's truly what it feels like at this point in time.
But that's an awful strategy.
I'm not saying it's a good one.
Especially
but how can you do it as many times as they have and not say that that's what's going on now?
I don't know. When the guy shows you the evidence that he should be a Cowboy, get him signed on the dotted line. Don't waste time.
You got Micah Parsons for a 3rd-round pick. You're telling me if you knew you wanted to keep him at some point during that season, you couldn't go to him and give him CD's contract? And you're telling me he would have turned that down? I don't.
No, but they waited, and by waiting, Myles Garrett got paid, and then it was like, I don't think we want to give this guy $40 million a year. We could have given him 35 like 5 weeks ago. Oh yeah, they met. Oh,
I remember a few years back, I told you before a draft that, and you didn't blow this off like some of my other takes that you have in the past. Credit to you, but I said I know this wide receiver class looks loaded. George Pickens might be the best one in this class, and people aren't necessarily talking about him because of suspensions and other things.
Injuries.
Well, this guy's looking like he still might be the best in that class. He might be the best wide receiver in the league. I think you can make a legitimate argument based on the way he played last year that will everybody agree? Will only some agree? Maybe. But I think there is actually a legitimate argument now based on the way he played last year that you could consider him the best wide receiver in the league.
I don't.
And now you're going to have to pay him that. And that is a huge contract when you already have what some consider the best wide receiver in the league getting paid like it on the team already.
I don't know if it's a weird spot. I don't know if he's the most talented wide receiver in the league or he just plays in an offense that, again, when you already have to double CeeDee Lamb, there's going to be opportunities for him. And he took full advantage. He was I think you could.
No, but how many games was CeeDee Lamb out last year and he balled as the number one option where he was the primary target?
Pickens was the better wide receiver over Lamb last year, no doubt. No doubt. So I won't tell you.
Out of yourself is what you're about to do.
Hey, I'll tell you. I wouldn't call you an idiot if you wanted to make an argument for George Pickens being one of the top wide receivers in the league.
I'm not going to make that argument. I'm just saying I could very easily see the argument to be made.
If you want to make it, I would listen. I don't know if I'd agree, but I'd listen. Sometimes I won't listen.
Would it be crazy if Pickens signs the tender or they get a deal done, either way, and he's on Dallas? You have arguably the 2 best wide receivers in the league on your team on offense with what I would consider a very solid tight end and a solid running game. if that defense regresses to the mean at all, then yes, I think Dallas is going to be in the overrated conversation again next year, depending on how they produce.
All right, so that's Dallas. This team, and I say this really grinds my gears every single year.
Okay, Peter, what do we got?
Yeah, right? These guys are like the Super Bowl
This does grind your
darlings.
gears even more than Dallas.
Like it's been every year since we've been doing this podcast, and we've been doing it for a while. That every offseason the Los Angeles Chargers are talked about like they're Super Bowl contenders. And it's never.
We had them 11-6 last year for our projections, just so.
I mean, we nailed that, but we always say Chargers are going to Charger.
Yeah, you do. You do find a way to make sure we remember that.
And they do, and that's where, and I think at some point this next football season we need to have an honest conversation. When do we start talking about Justin Herbert? Because we've given him a lot of excuses. And a lot of excuses.
I mean, there's people already not allowing him to have a pass anymore, right? And trying to call it out. I think it's tough for a lot of different reasons because I think Justin Herbert is what John Elway would be if Shanahan didn't come along and get some competent front office situations to allow them to finally take that next step and get a Super Bowl.
Oh, hold on.
Because just hear me out. I know I'm not trying to compare the two. Just hear me out a little bit, okay? I'm not trying to say Justin Herbert is as good as John Elway. I'm just saying that the situations that they were in, John Elway was in some crazy situations. Yes, he still managed to find ways to win and carry his team to some Super Bowls, whether they got blown out or not. That alone was an achievement. Justin Herbert hasn't done the same thing. But you look at, like, Justin Herbert's rookie season, the only reason he ends up starting is because the medical staff punctures the lung of the starting QB. Okay? They lost almost their entire offensive line last year. Their head coach before John Harbaugh made some seriously questionable decisions in some really unopportune moments. Injuries have been a consistent issue for them on offense and defense. Has Justin been part of the problem at times? Yes. I would say for the simple fact that he hasn't played at a superstar level in some of those opportunities, he didn't do his team anything to carry them or help them win a game. Can I honestly say he's lost them games? Yeah, I think I can. I think there's been a couple times where he's played really bad. How much of that was on him and how much of it was on him not having any weapons to throw to or an offensive line to block for him or a coach making bad decisions? A lot of that goes into that too. So where I'm going with the comparison to Elway is there's been a lot of things that were outside of their control that I think to say they're not still one of the most talented QBs in the league would be a mistake. If you want to knock him for not winning yet and downgrading him for that within the rankings of the quarterbacks, I could understand. But if you're going to sit here and tell me he's still not one of the most talented quarterbacks, I would have a hard time listening to that argument. That would be my take from it.
Robert, what are your thoughts of the Chargers for 2026?
I mean, they did all right last season. Not great. I'll be curious to see what happens. I mean, I've been doing as long as you guys have, so I can't really say too much like you can, Pinky, with how frustrated you are being the Super Bowl darlings. But I mean, I'm not a huge Chargers fan, but I definitely think Harbaugh's got a good program going. It'll be interesting to see how they continue to progress. So, I mean, from that aspect, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to them being competitive against the Broncos.
They've had a pretty good track record against the Broncos over the years. Also finding a way to Charger as well. But I think the Chargers get a lot of my hate because I hate hearing how good they're supposed to be every offseason.
That's fair.
And when it doesn't materialize, it's like, Maybe we should just see what they got first before we start trying to crown them. But that's just me. So,
I
Understood.
mean, would
we'll
you
see.
would you agree though that on paper a lot of these seasons they have looked like a team that should contend at a high level, and then like you say, one reason or another, that organization finds a way to charger. Like that has
I
been one
would
of your favorite verbs on this podcast since we started, and it has lived up to the ways in which you use it. So I'm going
Chargers
to
gonna
give you
Charger,
your
baby.
props. Cheers, my good sir. You've been very correct on that situation. But would you agree that at least a lot of these seasons on paper, they have had a team that should compete?
They've usually had some pretty good teams overall. I would say for 2026 again, Harbaugh teams are usually tough, physical. They're going to run the ball. Probably going to be able to throw the ball well as long as the O-line holds up. Still not sure if they fired their, strength and conditioning team yet or what they're doing there because they have more injuries. They have almost as many injuries as the 49ers. And we're talking
I saw something the
conspiracy.
other day that Lynch came out and said they had an independent study done by some experts with the electrical substation, and it was much to do about nothing were the results. Now, whether that's a true story or not, I don't know. I didn't go research it, so maybe I should.
I heard the same thing though.
Okay,
I think
so
the Rich Eisen show mentioned
yeah,
that.
much to do about nothing. Which okay, cool. At least they put the money out there to just make sure, and that's good. Why haven't the Chargers done the same for themselves and their medical staff? Because people talk about the 49ers injuries regularly, right? And I think part of it's because of the conspiracy theory and everything, but they have had a history of having some issues with injuries. Why do the Chargers keep seeming to get a pass year after year when that seems to be one of their biggest issues?
Well, the Broncos had a really big issue with injuries a couple seasons before Sean Payton got here. What was the first thing he did when he got in the building? They spent money on the best strength and conditioning program they could get.
He overhauled.
It is really important. They should be looking inward.
I mean, if your medical staff punctures the lung of your starting quarterback, that would be, I think,
hopefully he didn't
just fire everyone and bring in someone new. I don't know how much is still remaining from that same medical staff, but like there's a commonality within that building somewhere that you keep having these issues. I mean, to continuously have as many of your starters be out year in and year out that they do, you just got to think there's something somewhere where you would be like, oh, there's the commonality that has to change.
Mike Mentor got a job, or is it Jesse Mentor? Jesse Mentor literally got a job because the Chargers defense was still able to be so good with so many injuries that they dealt with. Like they were still a top 10 defense even with all the injuries they had. So all I know is
the fact that they were in the playoffs and the fact that they didn't have an offensive line half the season. Like that just tells you like what happens if one of these years the Chargers have a full season of health. What happens? Now I will say I am very surprised they didn't try to grab one of those top wide receiver free agents. That did surprise me a little bit. I don't know if they think Johnston's back, right? Johnston's back with them.
Quentin Johnson? Yeah.
I feel like he showed enough last year to kind of break out ever so slightly that I think they can take the next step with him if their offensive line is healthy, if Omari and Hampton is healthy, if it's like they keep saying if. And if they do, would it surprise anyone if they win a Super Bowl? No, I don't. I honestly don't think it would. I think the surprise everybody would be talking about would be, damn, the Chargers stayed healthy. This is what we've been talking about all these years. If they stayed healthy, they're finally healthy. Look what we got. Like, that seems to be the story with them.
We shall see. I'm not going to be a believer.
What do you think about Justin Herbert, though? I'm interested to hear your take on that, Pinky.
I mean, I've always been a fan of Justin Herbert. The dude can sling it. He can put the ball in places with just ease. Like it looks effortless a lot of the times. But there's been so many times. I almost feel like he doesn't have that dog in him. Like
He just doesn't have that it. Really talented, but missing the it. I'd have a hard time arguing against that.
And I don't know if he's the leader of the huddle. He's the guy that's like telling his guys, like Peyton Manning's like, dude, you will be on the street if you don't catch this football. Like, you know, they're just like, you want that dude at quarterback. And I don't know if
dude,
Justin
still
Herbert
one of my
got
favorite all-time things from the Sheriff is the epic sideline of him yelling at Saturday. It just that epic rant, like you don't call play Saturday.
Did you hear? There's a story of Sheriff with Austin Collie. I think it was Austin Collie when he was like a rookie, and he alligator armed a ball, and so it looked really bad, and Peyton Manning literally was like, "Get the fuck off my field." And he was running to the sidelines, and the coaches were like, "No, you're in," and forced him to come back. And Peyton literally told him in the huddle, "If you ever alligator arm a ball like that again, you will never play with me ever." And
I
so,
believe
like
that. I mean, you've got him. What was it, Vanderjack?
Yeah,
the punter. Just calling him an idiot, like flat out. Just we got an idiot at the punter, so there's that we got to deal with. Like Peyton would say. Peyton earned the right. I will give him that. Very few players in any sport earn the right to be able to talk on that level.
Look at any of the top,
and people be okay with it afterwards.
Look at any of the top quarterbacks: Brady, Manning, Mahomes. Watch them when they're on the sidelines talking to their guys. Like,
oh yeah, sideline.
They're ruthless.
I don't get those vibes from Herbert. To me, he seems like a quiet guy.
He's an iPad kid
that just goes amongst his business, which is fine.
I'm going to be watching that really closely this next season, Pinky. I'm going to be watching Justin Herbert's sideline really closely now. And we're going to find – I will tell you, I don't know how many games we'll need because, you know, you don't always get those shots and stuff. But I will do my best to pay attention to that next year with Chargers games, and I will report back to you. That will be one thing I will – and I'll let you know if I think the dog or the it factor is there. And it really is more so just these crazy circumstances he's continuously had to deal with. Or if it's a guy who just really talented but not going to get you over the top kind of thing. We'll see. That's an interesting take. You know what I was just thinking about? As you said that, funny enough, as soon as you were saying that, the first thing I thought about was, does Bo Nix have that? And the first thing I thought about was him and Sean Payton yelling at each other.
Yes.
And I'm not worried about Bo Nix in that situation. So now I've got to pay attention to Justin Herbert and see if there's something there. Curious.
I like it.
Curious. That's an interesting take.
So, all right. Quick updates, because I there is something I did want to talk about when we talk about some nonsense. I had something I wanted to speak about. So, NBA update. And I don't know if I can make this big enough. Blurry,
my good man.
I don't know.
That's better. That's much better.
Is that better? All right. So we're just going to kind of scroll down a little bit. We've got the Western Conference. We've got the Thunder. Not quite locked in, but they're getting close to that 1 seed. Spurs are locked in at the 2 or 1. They can't do any worse than 2. Got the Lakers and the Nuggets. Oh, Nugs. We got to play a little catch-up. Nugs. We don't want that 4th seed. Timberwolves and Rockets. And the top 6 is locked in, by the way. None of these teams will fall out.
With the Suns lost tonight, I believe. I believe it got locked in, if I remember correctly.
They lost tonight, and pretty much everybody, the top 6 is locked in, and everything else is going to be playing games. So
now there can still be movement within the top. So when he says locked in, he means those 6 teams are locked into the top 6 spots. Nobody else can jump into there, but there still can be movement within those top 6.
Absolutely. And there's still enough games to have a little bit.
I went through and looked at everybody's remaining schedule, Pinky. And based on where everybody's at and the games back that everybody is from everybody and the way it's kind of lined up, I think it's unlikely we see any movement in that top 6 at this point.
Mm.
It could still happen, but I do believe it's going to be unlikely. I kind of think the seeding you're looking at right now in the Western Conference is going to be the way the first top 6 fall.
I want the Nuggets and Rockets. I don't want the Nuggets and Timberwolves. I just don't want it. I am that guy.
Rockets did win tonight. They beat the Knicks, so that helps a little bit. But I mean, yeah, like I said, not records, schedules remaining. It's not such that any one team has a gauntlet to go through. There's kind of might lose one or two, but everybody might lose one or two, and it kind of washes out.
Eastern Conference, I think we talked about this. I think we believe the Celtics are going to take this anyways, but Pistons, Celtics, Knicks is for top 3. We've got Cavaliers, Raptors, Hawks at the moment.
Hawks are the 3rd best record since All-Star break, I think.
Could be.
Have been playing really good ball. Basically, think about it this way. Since the All-Star break, I think is when that team finally decided they will move on from Trae Young. Now, I know the trade happened a little bit after, or was it a little bit before? Wow. Totally. Either way, they traded Trae Young, right? But All-Star break, they've known what was going to happen one way or the other, I believe, and I swear that trade was after All-Star break, but my timing seems all off now, so I don't know. I
think the trade deadline's before All-Star break.
Yeah, that's why I'm questioning myself, and everything seems wrong. Why I don't know this right now, I apologize. Terrible of me.
So we're getting close. Again, I like it when it's over. We know where everybody stands, and now we get to talk some playoff basketball, which is...
Yeah, he was traded in January. So yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. But basically, what I was trying to go with is since they made the decision to get rid of Trae Young, they have been one of the best teams in the league. And the young guys they have been playing really well. The team's been gelling. It was the right decision. Should have listened to me a couple years ago. Regardless, okay. I don't think it matters, though. I think the Hawks could they potentially upset somebody in the playoffs?
I mean, I don't know.
The Knicks are so Jekyll and Hyde. If that was the matchup, could I see it happening? Yeah. Would I project it? No. But could I see it? Yeah. Could they beat the Cavs? Yeah, I think they could beat the Cavs right now.
If the Raptors the Raptors are 4-10 in their last 14 games. So if they can overtake
if I'm being
the Raptors,
honest, the Raptors being the 5th seed shows you how bad the East is as a whole. And I'm not trying to knock the Raptors. They've got some talent, and I love Barnes. Scotty Barnes is a dog. And they've got some other guys on there. They're not a great team comparatively to what you would consider the top teams to be. Are they going to be in the playoffs? Yes. Would I consider them a legitimate threat to win a series? No. Would do I consider the Hawks though right now? Yeah, I could argue the Hawks. So, as much as I say that though, I think it's the Celtics to lose. And that Cade Cunningham injury is just throws everything off. I mean, you don't even know if he's going to come back for the playoff. The dude had a collapsed lung. That's not just we reinflated it, I'm good to go, everything moves forward. That could be a quick recovery, or it could be I'm not playing until next season. And even then, the amount of time he's been missing, I think is going to be hard for him to get back to. We're talking by the time he comes back, because I don't see him coming back for the first round of the playoffs at a minimum. So you start talking second round of playoffs, you start talking about more than a month missed. And now you want him to get back into game shape to play in a second round series when you're going to be looking at playing one of the top teams. That's going to be tough. It's just a tough position for them to be in. I just can't see Detroit pulling it off. Had he not gone down, I think it would have been very interesting between them and the Celtics. Because Tatum would have been still coming back, I could still make an argument for why that's going to need some time, and Detroit could take advantage of that. But at this point, the way the Celtics are playing, the way Tatum is progressing, the way Brown has played all year, and the fact that he's not a legitimate MVP candidate conversation is crazy. But I think, yeah, it's just Celtics, and let's move on. I will say this, though. Everybody talking about the issues with the NBA expanding and the lack of talent should just say the East is the issue. And be honest about the conversation. Are there some bad teams in the West? Yeah. But those teams still at least have what I believe you could say talent to build around, in a sense, where you look at the East, and the Pacers are only where they are because they made some really bad offseason moves and Halliburton's out. Halliburton will come back, though, next year, and they'll be able to then rebuild around him, retool,
and they can have a lottery pick on their hands.
Exactly.
I could argue, I could conspiracy theory and say the Pacers might have the number one pick.
Imagine if they do, though, and then Halliburton comes back, and you get to pair him with one of those top dudes now.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, this draft is getting deeper than people originally talked about, as far as the top end talent.
And I also think when I'm looking at the conspiracy theory of what team could get the number one pick, that actually, like, nobody wants to go to the Wizards. I mean, the Nets, maybe, like, nobody really cares. And then, you're looking over the Jazz and the Kings. They don't want to put the top guys with those teams. I can see the Mavs getting the number one pick again. So we'll see. All right, we got to move on real quick. Stanley Cup playoffs. We're getting close, just like the NBA playoffs. We've talked about it multiple times. Stanley Cup is the hardest trophy to win and also the coolest trophy in all of sports.
It is the best postseason in all of sports, I would say. We've talked about that. Yeah, it's hard to argue that.
Now, Robert, is there anything particular? I don't know. I might have to zoom in if you can't see this. Is there anything that sticks out to you here on this screen?
Not offhand, no.
Yeah, it doesn't have the Detroit Red Wings. Suck it.
Oh, I mean, I'm something I've been used to for a while, man. You're a little late there. I've already accepted that.
I'm going to rub that any chance I get.
That's okay.
F the Red Wings. I hope they are never good. See, using my hate again.
It's okay.
And the hate flow through me.
Oh,
right.
We're close.
Will get knocked out too. It'll be fine.
Oh, you shut your whore mouth.
It'll happen.
It might happen.
Talk shit.
Because it'll go the second round. It'll be Dallas and Colorado, and that's anybody's game.
Just to be clear, you weren't born in Michigan, right?
No, just raised on the Red Wings.
And
I was raised to hate the Avs.
Well, but that's where I'm going with this. You have more ties to Colorado than you do Detroit, so there is a legit reason why you could say I have some Michigan fandom.
An argument could be made.
Fan. And this is
an argument could be made.
This is why it makes sense for you to be okay with switching, if you will, or joining the bandwagon and making it permanent. Similar to Rockies fans. Every Rockies fan had a different MLB team that they rooted for as their team before the Rockies came. And the reason for that was because they didn't have a hometown team. Well, you didn't have a hometown team originally in hockey, so your family grew up on said. You then had a team move in, so you do have
so that works.
Pathway, but
that works for me and you.
And
that doesn't work for him.
Envision it.
He was born in like 99 or some shit. So like the Avs were already here.
96.
Yeah, see? Now he was too young to even be alive during those Red Wings and Avs rivalries.
I'm saying I'm saying there is a mother. I see a narrow.
There's a
All I
You
know is
following
when
me,
the
Robert?
Avs win,
Are you
I
following
got you.
me?
I got you.
I'm
when the
giving it to
Avs
you here.
win,
Don't listen to Pinky.
I'm dragging you to the parade, and we're gonna drink and have a good time.
If that happens, Pinky, I will buy it. I will buy a sweater. If they win the Stanley Cup this
And
year, I will buy a sweater.
These are really nice. The retro Quebec Nordique jerseys are really nice.
Avs actually have one of the better. That's going to come off as super homery, but I would say Avs have one of the better jersey sweater option selections as far as all professional sports teams are concerned.
I like their colors. Now I am not wearing a sweater to the parade in June.
That would be pretty hard to do.
It's hot, and
95,
people do it.
95-ish, and wearing a sweater would be pretty hard to do.
People did it. I was like, oh, you're committed. But so couple. Well,
We need
2 more.
I mean, it looks like based on what we've been watching and what Cody's been telling us, they're probably going to end up with the President's Cup, right?
Yeah.
So then the Avs would have to go and then break that said curse that exists. You know how you break that curse, Pinky?
Well,
you ignore every other curse that they try to talk about. So you go touch every trophy. You go on the ice and hold it up. You celebrate everything. You don't walk away from it.
You know what you do? This is an easy solution. And even Robert knows this one. You go get Danhausen, and you have Danhausen come in and curse everyone else. And then it alleviates your curse.
Could work.
Could be perfectly fine.
Could work.
In fact, I'm going to reach out to Danhausen and be like, hey, I need your help.
Or you have me find a legitimate way to talk you out of said things, and then you'd be okay as well. But that would be a lot harder to do. Danhausen would probably be the easier option.
Danhausen's a much easier option. Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go, Danhausen. My T-shirt's on the way, by the way, boys.
Of course it is.
I got the message today that it's been shipped. Oh.
What we need to make a post tagging Danhausen to curse everything outside of the Nuggets and Avs, and see what kind of price that takes and what he'd be willing to move forward with.
I'll buy his merch. I'll give him $20, whatever he wants.
The problem, Pinky, though, the risk is that he could go the exact opposite and just curse the Avs and Nuggets. So how do you go about it in such a way that Danhausen would be willing to accept, or you would be willing to provide whatever offer Danhausen extends? Because if you're not, you're automatically screwed. So you have to know 100% that you're going to be able to.
I think I've got the strategy. I go in with a marketing perspective of, hey, Danhausen, I've got this great idea for you. All I'm asking is that you curse everyone else besides the Nuggets and the Avs. And then you get a partnership deal with all the sports, with Fanatics, because Fanatics handles everybody, right?
Okay.
And you just put out T-shirts of Buffalo Bills, Danhausen, you are cursed. Like, it's a Buffalo Bills T-shirt, Danhausen's on it, you are cursed on the back. He's making tons of money. Because he would
sell more doing it that way by not cursing our teams,
right,
than he would if he cursed our teams and not everyone else.
Yeah, buddy.
It's a bold play. I think we need a plan B, and then be willing to understand that we might have to accept whatever terms he comes up with. But I'm willing to make this olive branch extension offer because it could be fun.
I think I will reach out on Twitter, and we will get this. We'll get this going. All right, Robert. Since you were the only one awake to make it through the F1 race, tell the people what happened.
That's not true. Just the only one that was awake and had ability to watch it. I was following online.
I mean, in a nutshell, George got screwed because of the safety car. That sucks for Ollie.
Yeah, explain that to me, because I can read about it. I haven't quite seen really highlights per se. I'm not quite following along with what I heard and read, and I don't think I'm understanding it properly.
So right about the time that the strategies were starting to come out, like, okay, here come the pits. This is what's going to happen. And at the point George was leading and they pitted him first to get him back out in front of Piastri, which put him in P5 instead of P6.
Okay.
But then Ollie Bierman crashed.
I would say that's a
then,
wreck. I think we can classify that as a wreck.
Well, yeah, we classify as wreck. And because of the wreck,
that was more than a crash, right? Like that was hot damn.
It slowed the race down completely. So George wasn't able to fully recover to get back up there fully.
Basically, so it was just strategies at that point, right?
Exactly.
But why they make it sound like in what I was reading and trying to understand, it almost made it seem like the safety car was brought out unnecessarily, and that's what cost George. This sounds like George just whining, or Mercedes just whining, even though Kimi won. Like, I don't understand. What am I missing, Robert?
I don't think. I mean, again, I don't see any way around it. They had to put the safety car out. I don't see how they could have avoided it.
Did they maintain a yellow, or did they go full red?
No, they maintained a yellow.
Really?
Which is what the problem was, is because it just clogged everybody up, so the pace was off.
Well, yeah, that changes tire situations and everything. If they go red there, then most strategies probably stay the same because you're not able to slow down and save tires or fuel or things of that nature, right?
Right, which is, again, when he pitted and then everything happened, everyone else then went to pit, which then changed the strategy because he was on older tires.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, it was nice to see McLaren.
Your boy's leading the points chase right now.
I mean, yes, I'm enjoying it, but I also am looking at the cars and I'm like, this sucks. This
I was gonna let you talk, and then that was gonna be my question if you didn't bring it up. What are we? Because like the highlights I have seen from the Berman crash are basically like it looks like, and why am I drawing a blank? Calapinto is who he passed, right?
I believe
Before
so.
He
yeah.
crashed. It looks like he's passing him while the other car's standing still.
And that's the problem, is he basically gained 50 kilometers of speed like that. It just sent him off. And that's the problem, is the physicality of it doesn't work out and it's dangerous. And because of the overtake and everything that's happening, it's just become unsafe. And the problem with it is you don't know what is going to happen. So as you're watching these races, you're very much watching, like, I mean, they explain it the best is it's the mushrooms for Mario Kart. Right. You're like, ooh, 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 ooh. It's just, it's not, like, yes, it's fun because there's a lot of overtaking, quote unquote, happening, but there's not a lot of racing happening.
Isn't it basically, and again, I'm not watching right now, which sucks, so I'm relying on you a lot, and I appreciate you. But isn't it pretty much just like the overtaking is like, hey, my battery's full now, I boost and I go. Yep. And then the guy you just passed, all of a sudden his battery, and then he goes. Like, it's not truly like, and I know this is a bad comparison, but like when you see NASCAR, you're watching positions continuously change a lot throughout a race, right?
Right.
And it's different guys. It's not just I'm getting my spot back. This feels like they're just kind of trading their spot back and forth continuously. Am I wrong in that, or is that really
not at all?
What's happening?
No, that's exactly what's happening.
And see that you're right. Then that's not racing. It's wait for my battery to charge, hit the boost. Wait for my battery to charge, hit the boost. And that feels like what I'm hearing a lot of drivers start talking about more as every race progresses. Do you get that feeling right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it sucks because, like, while, yes, I'm enjoying the success for Kimi, it's not a fun race.
What do you think it's just a matter of everything's so new, give it another year or two, and then by year 3, everything will be solid?
No, they need to change the regulations now.
Do you think it needs to go like, hey, we thought about it, we tried, it was stupid, this sport is based on raw horsepower, we're not going to be eco-friendly, we're going back to engines, combustible engines, we're getting rid of this battery. Do you think it goes back to more that, or do you think they try to figure out what they have and move forward?
They'll figure out a ratio. I hope it'd go like 70-30, 70 combustion, 30 electric. That'd be what I'd like to see instead of the 50-50.
I honestly don't know why you have any electric power.
I don't disagree with you, but if they want to maintain the quote unquote eco-friendly, then that'd be the compromise I'd make.
Yeah, I think it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And then on top of that, I think the other thing that baffles me, and I will continue to say this, and this has nothing to do with F1 or the FIA or anything. This is just on teams themselves and the standard that seems to be accepted within F1 that I will never understand. And I get it costs a lot of money. I get it. But if I have my own team, the last thing I would do is be using a competitor's engine. That is the absolute last thing I would do if I was trying to be my own F1 team. And the fact that that is commonplace to let somebody else supply your engine that could be your biggest competitor. Like, think about how much data Mercedes is getting right now. Yes, they have to give all their data away, right? But they're getting even more coming back. Like, every team that has a Mercedes engine doesn't have to share with each other. But they have to share with Mercedes because that's their engine supplier.
Yep.
And Mercedes has to share their data with everybody. But it seems like, unless I'm missing something, it seems like Mercedes gets the better end of that deal. And I believe you're seeing that outcome. So why teams don't become their own supplier and build their own engines just really is something I will always have a hard time understanding. And I know we're new. I'm still learning everything. So maybe there's somebody out there that could explain it to me in such a way that would make sense outside of the cost. Because the cost to me should not be to deter. Like, you should find a way to get over that, right? If you truly want to be a competitive team, you would build your own platform. At least that's my feeling. I don't know.
We have a month off. There's a lot of talk about changes and things coming, so we're gonna see what happens.
Did I see that right? 5 weeks because of the 2 canceled races?
May 22nd, I think, is when it happens.
And that's Miami, right? Next one up.
Correct.
That's crazy. That's more than a month. That's more than a month and a half off.
Yep. So we're just chilling. We're no races until then.
It's funny. You think about
May 3rd.
How long Russia hasn't been allowed to do international competition because of war and their insanely high level government issued steroid scandal situation. But now you're looking at I'll be honest, something I had never even thought about. And the fact that America and the Middle East as a whole, with Israel and Iran and Palestine and everything else going on, you're seeing countries now affecting the sports world. F1 and races, you're looking at Iran and the situation with the World Cup and them trying to get all their games rescheduled and moved outside of Mexico, or they're just going to not be involved and another team's going to replace them and just take their schedule. It's something we'll probably talk about more as the World Cup gets closer if it ends up being a situation. It's obviously affecting the F1 situation right now in a major way. It's rare that geopolitics affects sports, right? And becomes something that there is a legit reason to have a conversation where they intersect and make it something that should be discussed. And I think this is very close to being on the verge of, if it isn't already.
Yeah. It's when you have some of your biggest stars going against what's happening, not just like with being the geopolitics and taking out all the fun of the car and what Formula One truly is. Now you're taking off dates off the calendar. Like, There's a lot that's happening with it, and it's quite interesting to see the development of it all.
It's so weird that we came in as fans at what seems to be like it could end up being one of the biggest linchpin turning point moments in the sports history.
Completely.
And we're trying to play catch up and learn everything that causes us to be that issue. And we kind of like feel it, but we don't quite understand it, I think, on the level we need to. Or maybe we're the ones that are out front and we see it because we're so new, and there's a lot of fans that don't even recognize what's happening. It could very well be that even maybe. And we're going to get called an idiot a bunch for even saying that out loud. And when I say we, I mean me, but you guys are going to have to own it with me. So deal with it.
Yep. Well, I mean, hey, we're learning as we go, so it's nice. Time will tell.
All right, boys. We got a couple minutes left. Went a little long on some of these topics, but hey, it is what it is.
It's all good.
I feel bad. We need to be dead nuts next week. And Robert has a topic that needs Robert has a topic that he mentioned that needs room to breathe, and I think we need to save it for next week because I really love the thought, and I want it to have at least 30 minutes to discuss if we need it. So apologies, good sir. I do appreciate the over heavy F1 kind of update for me and helping me fill in every week.
It helps me too because I only made it through like 23 laps. So.
Yeah, he was done. He was done. What's up with Night of the Seven Kingdoms?
I actually watched it all.
Oh, hey.
I completed it.
Hello. What do you think?
Welcome to the conversation. Or post-conversation, I guess now.
little too short, which made it easily consumable. But
too short. You thought it was too short?
It was perfect.
I really like the pacing.
It's 6 episodes. I feel like there was 8 or 9 in there.
Wasn't it 8 episodes?
6.
It was 8.
It's 6. I watched all 6. Look it up.
I know Robert's pulling it up right now, so I won't even do it. But was it really only 6 episodes?
Yeah, no, it was only 6.
I know. I just watched it, guys. Because I watched
good for you.
5. I watched 5 on Sunday because the wife was out for a while, and I was like, "Oh, I'll throw this on." She
only
didn't
6.
Really
that was a
really.
Fair, Pinky. 6 sounds short, but I thought I was good with the story and the way it unfolded.
I think I would have liked just a little bit more, but I left going. I'm really excited to see Sir Duncan and Egg and their adventures. Like as they're going out into the world, I'm sitting there going, where could they go next? What adventures / trouble could they get into? And
so many good stories to tell, just based on the history and lore that you.
The graphic novel is great. The graphic novel is great. So it tells a lot about what's coming and what we're gonna get into. And
there's 3. He's written 3, I think. I read.
3 maybe, yeah. I know the Hedge Knight is like all one like story.
Do we? You may not know this, Robert, and that's fine if you don't, because I have my own theories. But if I need to just abandon those and know the truth, I'm good with that. You know how I feel about those situations. Do we know for sure whether Egg went knowingly or unknowingly?
Wait, you mean when he left with him?
Yeah.
He left yeah. He made the decision to go with
No, what he's saying is, does Dad know and is playing a part, or does Dad not know and Egg just left anyway?
Oh, no, Dad does not know.
There are things that say Dad very much knew because of Egg having
I'm with Caleb on this.
He had his ring or the signet or whatever it was that says who he is in a worst case scenario. Yep. I feel like Dad would make that very clear that needs to go with him. I'm not going to go too deep into it right now. this is a conversation we could definitely sit down and discuss. 'cause
The
I think it'd
dad
be a
is
fun
just
one.
trying. Well, then why is dad acting that he has no idea where his son is?
Because it's part of what needs to happen in order for that
In order
to
for Egg to
actually
be able to
truly
leave.
be able to be what it is. Otherwise, he's not a squire. He's not getting the sense of what it means to truly see the kingdom and learn the way Dad wants him to be able to under Duncan.
But then he's putting a target.
I've gone way far into this, and I think Robert probably has a lot of similar ideas and
he's
thoughts.
He's putting a target on Duncan's back, though, which then puts a target on his son's back, which is also a dumb thing.
Sort of. Yes.
They're not playing to royalty. They're playing as lower class.
They're also not necessarily a target, though, because nobody knows who the F they are.
Exactly.
He walks away from that tournament without anybody realizing who Egg is still. Because
or who the hell Duncan is
sitting up there, even though Egg sits up there with him, there's still a very big argument and portion of that crowd that could say that was just his squire sitting up there because it's his squire, not knowing what happened behind the scenes and closed doors in the sense that he's the king's son. Now, you could totally throw that all out the window very easily because you could say, yeah, but he very clearly announced who he was in public to save Duncan's life, basically. Yeah, and you could say that, but this is a time in which the internet doesn't exist. So you could say, oh, the king's son showed up out of nowhere and saved Duncan's life, but you could also not know that that was his squire, and then the story gets lost in translation because there's not a picture that goes with everything that makes you know exactly what's going on. Right. So I think there's a way to argue that, which makes, I think, the way the story unfolded very interesting.
100%. No, that was good, Caleb. Well done.
Thank you.
Was it?
It was. Yep. Excellent.
Love so that was it.
There's more of that rabbit hole that I have talked about with myself, but I think it's so that's why I asked, Robert, because as you've seen, I've gone very much on both sides of this argument to try and whittle down through this rabbit hole, and
to my understanding, there hasn't been a definitive answer, but I am of your opinion.
Okay.
I think that he knows and is just playing a part. That's just me.
I don't think he knows. I think Dad's a better dude than he lets on.
Yeah.
But through his own mistakes, I will say, that may not be the best word, but through his own choices in raising his sons, some took the lessons correctly, some took the lessons incorrectly, and others took the lessons as such that we should all be burned. So, sometimes children are a product of their selves and not their environment, right? You could have the best parents in the world and have a really not great person unfold from that. And I think that's kind of what you're seeing in that situation. And a dad who had a brother who seemed to do no wrong and say all the right things without any of the issues of having the children to deal with and the pressure of being next up in the line of royalty and that weight that it carries. And I think that's while I'm very much not a fan of George R.R. Martin because he doesn't finish the series and he leaves all these cliffhangers and interpretations to be left up to other people to do for him, and then he comes out and says, well, that's not how I would have done it, and this, that, and the other. I do think he's developed some very interesting characters and interesting storylines and interesting scenarios to allow for some amazing world building and storytelling. So I will give him massive amounts of credit for that. And the fact that he's done similar to what Tolkien did, and the fact that he's built a history behind it as to why you're where you're at now, I think is really cool too.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of substance there, and that'll actually tie into what we talk about with the topic that I had for us this week. But that'll tie into a kind of overarching thing that I'll be asking. So I like it.
That has to happen next week. So come back next week, and Robert's got a fun topic to deal with. What can we tease it as without giving anything away?
Remakes.
The ability for originality within Hollywood as a whole.
Sure. Or
That's
the other way that I would put it is, when do you have it right?
I like that. I like the way you worded that as well. The ability for Hollywood to be original, and when or if do you have it right? And that kind of leads into this overarching topic that Robert brought to our attentions that I do think will be a lot of fun to spend some time on. So we have to, regardless of where we're at next week, Pinky, the hour mark has to be cut off, and we have to jump into this conversation because I am very intrigued on thoughts from both of
I think that should be pretty easy because NBA is not done. NHL is not done. We got Final Fours. We'll have some NFL topic. And yeah, then the floor is Robert's.
I like it. I'm ready. I've got pros and cons for this, so I've got a lot of examples to go into it for what we
it's
just talked
funny
about.
because you said it and it was literally almost the exact conversation my wife and I were having the other night because of certain fandoms. So I am very already been thinking about it, ready to hear your guys' thoughts and start bouncing those off each other to see where we can land, if you will, as far as opinions, thoughts, and next steps and things of that nature.
Again, I've got several ideas myself, so I'm excited to really debate this and get a good topic going on it. So,
all right, boys.
That's all I got.
Final thoughts, Robert.
Oh man. Nephew turned 3, so celebrated his birthday, and he started preschool, so that was fun.
Nice.
Milestones all over the place. And I had my first Warhammer win, so that was exciting. Feeling like I'm finally figuring out how to play this damn game that requires so much brain power. But I'm loving it. It's been fun, so more to come.
Pinky, good sir?
I don't know if I have anything. No. We are going to do, we'll start prepping the fans. We are doing our NFL mock draft a little early. Pinky will be out for a little bit. So we've got to do it on the 14th episode on the I think it's the 14th. I'll have to pull up the calendar again.
Does that mean Caleb has a solo week?
2 weeks before we would normally do it?
Hold on. Does Caleb have a solo week?
I mean, Caleb either needs to get a guest or, yeah, he'd just be talking himself, one or the other.
Oh, snap.
I'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, the 21st.
I'll go full Jim Rome if I have to.
Yeah, because Caleb, not to be rude or anything, but I will have built my lightsaber, and I will be at Disney, for the week that you're by yourself. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about the show.
You send me some topics, fellas. I can handle it by myself. Don't worry about it. We're good.
I mean, we can get you a co-host if need be.
I don't know if we need one.
Might not.
Maybe I want to give it a shot and see what happens.
What the Caleb show sounds like.
Maybe I want to see what happens.
Maybe I just I recruit you to record with Ron, so at least Ron has a sounding board for Smack Talk and Raw. But
we'll
talk
be
about
a possibility. We'll see. All
right,
okay.
boys.
I will say screw it. I'm not going to try to be kind about this at all. Cooper Flagg is the rookie of the year, and if you think otherwise, you're wrong. I don't usually tell people they're wrong. I don't like it. I like opinions. I like debate. I like conversation, and I acknowledge that not everybody's going to see it the same way. If you're going to sit here and tell me Konga Nipple is the rookie of the year because of his 3-point percentage and the fact that his numbers are similar to Flagg's, you are deciding to ignore all the other facts involved in that conversation. So I can't do it. Cooper Flagg this is not a co-rookie. This is not a Melo LeBron situation. One's leading his team. The other one is the third or fourth option on the team. That is not an equal comparison. Let's not do that. If you have those opportunities, moments with your inner circle, family, loved ones, friends, whoever you consider that to be, cherish them, take advantage of them. Do not take them for granted. Skip our asses and listen to us later if you're normally listening to us live. And we're not going to be hurt by that at all because, as these two just talked, I might be here for a week by myself because we're taking advantage of those opportunities to hang out with our inner circle. So we live by what we preach. Now, we've been able to do it such that we haven't had to miss a full week ever because luckily there's 3 of us and we can work schedules around. But if that day came, we're just going to tell you, peace out. We're going to live by our own words, and that is what it is.
We'll catch you in 2
weeks. If you don't want to do the Caleb week by itself, and you're listening to this right now, you better start speaking out early because I'm fully on board to do it by myself. I don't need no co-host. I'm going to spew a bunch of stuff and see what happens, just for the fun of it. It's not that I don't love having a co-host or that I don't like conversation. I just think the challenge would be fun. That's all. Do something different and see how it plays out. But seriously, take advantage of those opportunities, family, loved ones, friends, inner circle. Please, please, please. On that note, you have topics. You want to discuss something, reach out to us. We're all about it. Please, 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 like, follow, share, support, hit all the buttons. We can't thank you enough for those that have, those that will, those that are thinking about it. Do it, please. Appreciate all of you. Until next week. Peace.
Pinky in the building, reppin' orange and blue. Broncos country, yeah, you know how we do. High take so wild, you remember the name. From college ball to the pros, Caleb spitting game. Robert here, the pop culture plug. From comics to racing, pour the drink in the mug. Sports, nonsense and whiskey, yeah, bold talk. Good laughs and a glass in the air. Sports, nonsense and whiskey, right? Kick back, tune in, take a wild side.